There are cars you see on the street, and then there are cars that alter the very air they move through. The Mercedes G-Class has always belonged to the latter category. For nearly half a century, it has stood like a totem, a defiance of change, a squared-edge reminder that not everything bows to fashion. People didn't love the G-Wagon because it was sleek or futuristic. They loved it because it wasn't. It was a rolling declaration of stubbornness, a steel brick that became a symbol of wealth, power, and enduring taste, which is why the arrival of the 2026 Mercedes G-Class SUV feels like an earthquake. Because Mercedes didn't just refresh the icon. They tore it apart and dared to sculpt something entirely new. The first glimpse is enough to leave you breathless, or confused, or even furious, depending on how loyal you are to the original. In the shadows, the new G-Class SUV doesn't look like the G-Wagon you knew. Its silhouette is darker, lower, more sculpted. The upright slab has been reborn into an angular, muscular beast. At first, you almost don't recognize it. But then your brain catches the cues, the way the roofline still asserts dominance, the way the shoulders still speak of strength, the way the stance says unshakable confidence. It's a paradox, familiar yet utterly alien. It's as though Mercedes kept the DNA but rewrote the code, designing a G-Class that belongs not in the past, but in the future. And this particular version, dressed in jet black, is nothing short of intimidating. Not glossy black that shines like piano lacquer, but a black that absorbs light, a black that feels infinite. Park this next to a Lamborghini Urus or a Bentley Bentayga, and you'll notice something. The others gleam with excess, polished, decorated, begging for attention. The G-Class does none of that. It sits silent, a monolith commanding presence through restraint. It's the difference between a loud braggart and a quiet figure in the corner who terrifies you more because he says nothing at all. The 2026 G-Class SUV has that aura. Up close, the details hit you. The grille no longer looks like a utilitarian afterthought. It's been transformed into an emblem of aggression, a shield with razor-sharp contours. The headlights are sleeker, piercing, like the eyes of a predator in the dark. Air vents carved into the bodywork aren't simply functional. They are sculptural, designed to make the whole car feel alive. Even the wheels, massive and intricate, feel like weapons forged for motion. This is no longer the boxy utility truck that accidentally became a luxury darling. This is a luxury SUV designed as art, designed as intimidation, designed to leave an impression that borders on fear. Climb inside, and you're reminded that Mercedes has always been the master of interiors. But here, they've gone further. The old G-Class cabins were luxurious, yes, but they always felt like luxury squeezed into a cage. This new one feels liberated, like the designers finally had permission to stretch their imagination. Black leather dominates, soft, rich, and intoxicating. But what astonishes is the way the space has been sculpted around you. The dashboard flows instead of standing still. Screens curve into your line of sight rather than jutting out. The stitching, the trim, every detail feels bespoke. This is not a cabin that wants to dazzle with bling. It wants to seduce with sophistication. The ambient lighting is softer, less nightclub, more cathedral glow. Sit here, and you feel less like you are in a car, more like you are in a sanctuary of technology and taste. And yet, the duality is undeniable. While the interior cocoons you in serenity, the moment you fire up the AMG-tuned hybrid V8, you remember exactly what you're dealing with. The G-Class SUV does not just start. It awakens. The growl is deeper than before, resonant like a heartbeat amplified through steel. Push the throttle, and the beast lunges forward with astonishing urgency. Where the old G-Wagon felt like dragging a safe through quicksand, this one feels alive, poised, eager to run. It isn't trying to pretend it's a sports car, though its acceleration would embarrass many. Instead, it is a predator in its own category, not a cheetah chasing prey, but a panther stalking with patience and then striking with overwhelming force. On the road, it is revelatory. The G-Class has always carried the weight of its frame, a heaviness you could never ignore. But this new platform feels reborn. Steering is sharper, more intuitive, more responsive than any G-Class before. Body roll, once its biggest weakness, is now tamed, controlled with adaptive suspension that reads the road and balances the mass with eerie precision. Take a corner, and you no longer feel like you're commanding a stubborn giant. You feel like you're orchestrating a symphony of engineering. And yet, through all this modernization, it has not lost its soul. You still sit tall, you still feel commanding, and you still sense that indestructible confidence under your hands. But let's be clear, this SUV is not about blending into the crowd of high-performance luxury SUVs. The Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT is faster around the track. The Lamborghini Urus Performante shouts louder. And the Aston Martin DBX has more flamboyance. The G-Class SUV is not chasing them. It is redefining the space entirely. Those other SUVs feel like they are trying to prove something, that they can be sports cars despite their size. The G-Class does not bother with that. It says, I am not a sports car on stilts. I am my own creature. That is its power. That is why it intimidates even when standing still. And there is something deeply emotional in that, because for decades, the G-Wagon was adored precisely because it refused to change. It was the last bastion of a time when utility was king. Its boxy shape was its armor against fashion. For Mercedes to take that and transform it into this, that is an act of bravery. Some will hate it. Purists will claim the soul is lost. But I argue the opposite. The soul is here stronger than ever. Only now, it has evolved. What Mercedes has done is prove that even legends can grow without dying. They've proven that tradition doesn't have to mean stagnation. They've proven that the G-Class can still be relevant, still be dominant, still be iconic, not by standing still, but by moving forward. Driving it through the city, you feel the stares, not because people recognize it, but because they don't. They look once, twice, their brows furrowed, trying to place it. And then, when realization dawns that this dark, sculpted phantom is the new G-Class, the reaction is universal. Disbelief, sometimes even a shake of the head. That is the mark of a car that matters. It doesn't pass unnoticed. It bends the atmosphere around it. Take it off-road, and Mercedes makes sure you remember this is still a G-Class at heart. The new systems, the improved suspension, the hybrid torque distribution, they all conspire to make it not just capable, but unstoppable. Climbing rocks, wading through streams, tackling sand dunes, it feels effortless. And yet, unlike the old one, it doesn't feel like you are wrestling machinery. It feels like you are simply giving it permission to dominate terrain. No matter where you go, the sense is the same. You are not driving, you are commanding. The 2026 Mercedes G-Class SUV is more than a vehicle. It is a statement that legends are not trapped in their own history, a statement that intimidation does not require noise or gaudy excess, a statement that design, power, and presence can evolve into something almost mythological. This is not just another luxury SUV to park next to Bentleys and Range Rovers. This is an object of legend retold, a new chapter carved in obsidian steel. And when you turn off the engine, step out, and look back at it, silhouetted in black against the world, you understand. The old G-Wagon was a relic of what was. The new G-Class SUV is a vision of what will be. It is the ghost of tradition made flesh in the future. It doesn't just exist on the road, it haunts it.